Hi, and welcome to our Tuesday evening tutorial. Thank you for joining me. I'm Pam Wrigley. We're just in the middle of some kind of decorating at the moment, so you'll have to excuse our kind of new plaster on the wall. It's not been finished yet. But that doesn't detract from what we're about to do. I'm going to show you how to create a beautiful half-up style, working with short hair, short fine hair. And if you have any questions, please just put your questions into the chat box and I will be able to hopefully pick up your questions as soon as they come through. Sometimes I get a little bit carried away styling the hair, but I will be regularly looking at the questions. So if you have any questions, whether it's about tonight's bridal hairstyle or whether it's about working as a bridal hairstylist, just get in touch and I'll do my best to answer the question tonight. So let's get started. I haven't done any prep on this hair other than to section the hair away. So we've got a front section here. We've got our two kind of side sections. There's one there and there's one here. You can see that section coming here. And then we've got a crown section, and at the back, I've done a couple of different sections here going up the back of the hair. So when you start creating bridal hairstyles, it's always best to prep the hair first of all. I've put a little bit of mousse in the practice head, and if you're working with a client, put a little bit of mousse in first, especially if they've just freshly washed their hair. So pop a little bit of mousse in the hair and blow dry it. So then you get a little bit of texture, a little bit of grip to the hair, and it makes the hair less soft. And once you've done that, then you're going to start the curling process, which is what I'm going to do now. I'm not going to curl the whole head. I've got another one prepped here. So what you're going to do once you've got the mousse in the hair, I would recommend using a heat protector. And today I'm going to use the Silhouette Style and Care Lotion. And you can just spritz that fairly generously through the hair. The heat protector is key. And then because we want to get a kind of, this lady, let's imagine she has fine, thin hair and it doesn't want to hold a curl. The mousse is the first step. The heat protector and the mousse I've used today actually is an Osis Soft Glam mousse. Then the heat protector, and then to get the curl to hold without too much trouble, what I've discovered works brilliantly, let me just clip this away so you can see, is this L'Oreal Infinium Stronghold Hairspray. This is actually extra strong and it makes the hair a little bit crispy. Take that off. It makes the hair a little bit crispy, but it works brilliantly when it comes to holding the curl, even in hair that doesn't want to curl. And when we're working with short hair, this isn't too bad at the moment, this hair. She's not kind of super short, but let me just clip this away. But what we're going to do is spray this after the heat protector. You're going to spray it with a little bit of your Infinium hairspray, and then you're going to wave the hair. And because the hair is quite short at the bottom here, I'm going to use a 19mm, this is a Babyliss tong, a 19mm tong. Now you could use a wand, and I'm going to hold this vertically. You can lift up the clamp, hold it vertically, and wrap the hair around the tong with a little twist in there, because we want to get a kind of beachy wave looking style. And I'm using the smaller tongs at the bottom here, so especially if your client's got slightly shorter hair than this lady, you'll find if you use the smaller tongs, this is a 19mm tong, you'll be able to get enough of a wave even though the hair is short. And then as we transition higher up the head, I'm going to move onto a larger tong. Now, one thing you might ask is why would some people prefer to use a wand rather than a tong. But the reason I like to use a tong is because the clamp, you'll find, will come in very handy. When the hair's short, sometimes it's hard to wrap it all the way around. So I use the clamp on the tongue at the end, just to capture the ends of the hair, to put a little bit of a curve in there. You've not quite been able to get it close enough, hold your hands close enough to the tongue. Could wear a heat glove, but if you don't have one, or if you can, sometimes I find it's more tactile if I use my fingers. If I use the heat glove, sometimes I can't quite tell what I'm doing. But you're going to go all the way through the hair, curling inwards to the center from one side, and from the other side curling in from that side. So let's imagine we've done all this practice head, and here's one that I prepared earlier for you. So let's just check our questions. Oh, hi, Adjua. Thank you for joining me. Let's see the type of head that I'm using. Now, I've got these heads. Actually, I've trimmed the hair on these heads. These heads are from Salon Services. And you'll find when you're buying a practice head, it's always better to get 100% real hair, and don't get one that's kind of a bit of a bargain, because you'll probably find it won't be a bargain, because it won't be 100% hair. It'll have some nylon in it. So it's always better to spend a little bit more, buy the best quality you can, and it will last you so much longer. So I've done waves all the way down the hair here, all the way through the hair. I've left a little bit at the top here because I wanted to show you something. I think you might have seen on the other, I'm going to go to my 25mm tongs now. When I did the other style, the other head, sorry, I held the tongue down and twisted the hair around the tongue. But if you want to get a little bit of height, these ladies aren't too bad, because although, they are practice heads, but they've got quite a lot of hair. But if you did want to get some root lift and some height, instead of holding the tongue down, you're going to do the same technique. You're going to put the mousse in the hair. You're going to use some styling care lotion or some heat protector. And then you're going to use your Infinium hairspray. But if she wants a little bit of height, you would start maybe lower down about here. But instead of holding the tongs vertical, if you hold them horizontal, like this, let me see, make sure you can see what I'm doing. So if you hold them horizontal, you can either go over the clamp or under the clamp, and then you do your twist. You'll find that by holding them horizontal, you get a fabulous root lift. So if your client wants some volume, you'll see what I mean when I take this off. The wrap, we've got different ways of wrapping the hair around the tongue, and here I'm doing it with a twist, so we get that beachy wave. And if you've seen any of our other tutorials, you'll see what I'm doing there. You can always have a look on YouTube, of course. Mainly, you can join me for the full in-depth learning experience. Join me on our online bridal hair course, and you can get some information on that in our little intro. But you can see, look at that root lift there. You probably wouldn't want that much root lift, but it does settle, especially if they've got fine hair. But you can imagine if you'd done all the hair with that amount of volume, maybe not quite that amount, but if you'd done all the hair, this will settle a little bit. But if you'd done all the hair with the tongs horizontal, you get this gorgeous root lift and volume everywhere. So we're using a tong because we can use the clamp to catch the end of the hair. And depending on whether you hold the tongs vertical or horizontal, will dictate how much root lift and volume you have. And the size of the tong will affect the size of the wave. So the smaller the tongs, the tighter the wave. And so that's great if you're working with very short hair, especially on those lower sections, or because you might find by the time you've wrapped the hair around the tong, you've barely got a curl or a wave anywhere in sight because there's not enough hair. So now let's just wrap this hair backwards, away from the face. I'm holding the tongs vertical here. Little twist with my wrist. Now, I know I'm doing this fairly quickly, this twist technique, but it is very simple to follow. As I say, you can watch me doing it much slower in one of our curl tutorials. And if you join me online for our e-learning course, And we now have a fabulous new beginners course, which is endorsed by Javier. That's it. So it'll get you started on your bridal hair career. And once you've completed that, you can join us on our level 2 course, where you can, when you pass that, you can get insurance and start working as a bridal hairstylist, which I have to say is a fabulous job. Okay, let's get this. Everybody's happy when you go to work. Let's twist away. And you can see here what I'm doing. I'm wrapping the hair away from the face. So you need to do this probably on both sides. On some rare occasions, people might want the hair going towards their face. And really, that's one of those situations where you judge. You might want to check with somebody what they prefer and work with a mirror. So I've got a mirror just underneath the camera here so I can see what I'm doing. Take that off there. That's it. But if you take the hair away from the face, then it doesn't kind of drop forwards all the time. However, if somebody perhaps has a, maybe they've got a big double chin or they've got big neck, whatever it is they don't like about themselves, they might want their hair kind of coming forward so it's a little bit more flattering for them. So always check with your bride and never think that, you've got all the answers, because they know their face shape best. Okay, let me just check our questions. Oh, thank you for joining me. Good evening, everybody. Elizabeth, Addie, Kiki, thank you for joining me. So now we've got all our gorgeous waves. And the lady that I did this actually for a bride, for a lady on Saturday. Let's just get rid of a little bit of that height because she doesn't really need it. And this lady had very fine hair that didn't hold a curl. And she wanted a little half up, half down style, but soft, relaxed and gorgeous. So this was the perfect style. So what we did for our half up, half down style, because she's not got a lot of hair, what we don't necessarily want to do is kind of pick up lots of hair. So you're going to check in the mirror and see which bit she wants back. And just working with one section at a time, I'm kind of going to twist the hair and just pop a little grip in here. Now, by grip, I mean a little bobby pin. Let me just get these out. And you're going to check the front, make sure you're not pulling too much hair back, make sure it's not too high, not too low. So it's always good to work with a mirror and just bring that back, twist the hair. The other thing you need to do as well is make sure that you hide your bobby pins. So you don't want to be kind of creating styles that have got bobby pins visible everywhere. So I'm just pressing my finger onto the hair. And if you look, my finger's vertical here. So I'm actually sliding the bobby pin underneath my finger at the same angle. So whatever angle your finger is at, that's the angle you want to put your bobby pin in. You put a bit of pressure on it so that it doesn't lift up from the hair, and then it's in place. So make sure, that's a little bit high, I think, because I'm kind of concentrating more on showing you the technique to grip it. But as I say, we have tutorials showing this really up close and in detail on our e-learning site. Now, if your lady, and then we're going to pick up another section, so we're no longer working with that curl, we just drop that one, we pick up another section, put another twist in it, and then take it over the next set of curls there and pop another bobby pin in. Now, if your lady's got soft, silky hair and that mousse and the infinium hasn't quite taken away that soft, slippy texture to the hair, a great thing to use here, now I wouldn't use it, I don't recommend use it in your practice head, is to use something, I don't know if you can quite see it, it's called Puff Me. Well, actually, it's just a texturizing powder. But when you buy this one, this is a new one, I haven't opened it yet. When you buy this one, you can kind of direct the powder exactly where you want it. So what you would do, I'm not going to do it in the practice head because you never get it out. But what you do, basically, let me use a blonde pin so you maybe can see it a little bit better. And let me lift her up a little bit. So you're going to decide where you want the hair to sit and say I want it just here. And so the bobby pin doesn't slip, you're going to just put a little bit of texturizing powder just underneath the hair, just underneath where your finger is holding that hair, and then slide the bobby pin in, and then the bobby pin doesn't move at all. So there's the bobby pin going underneath my finger. Hopefully you can see it a little bit there. And then it's hidden. Oh, it's not hidden there, but let me just do that again. You want it to go under that hair that's above, so be careful. That's better. So then you're creating this little kind of looped style. Then you're going to pick up another curl. And on Saturday, I didn't have the Puff Me with me. I just had the regular texturizing powder, which meant that every time I put it on, she had to kind of tip her head to the side. So you can still use it, but you want to be quite specific and get it in place. So she had to tip her head. Then I'll sprinkle it on. And of course, the photographer's there taking lots of photographs. And I think the pictures are probably better if she's upright rather than like that. So we've got a lot of things to think about on the wedding day. Slide that in. And this lady, this is really pretty. This lady didn't want it up on both sides. Be careful how much you lift up. You can see here, there's a little bit of the scalp showing. We don't want that. So you have to kind of, if somebody's got little areas of hair that are finer than others on her scalp, be really careful how much hair you pick up, because you don't want it to look like, you know, she's kind of got any bald patches. And then we'll do one more here, and then we're almost there. So it's a really, once you've got the waves in this style and you've done the hair prep, it's a really quick, easy style to create. Now it looks a bit odd here. So what I did on this side is I just picked up a bit of hair, twisted it over, so it almost kind of just connects the two halves. And I would be using my texturizing powder just underneath each grip, and I'm hiding the grips as well, so making sure they're not visible. And I don't know if you can see that there. Let me bring her a little bit. Oh, let me bring her a little bit close so you can see those little sections just picked up. This one needs coming back a little bit, I would say. I probably would recurl that stray hair there. And then as our little finale, let's pop in our little sparkly clips. And these are on little pins here. Remember, you've got those grips under there, so you can slide those pins underneath the bobby pins that you've got. And it all looks, and of course you've got the texturizing powder there. So they should be really secure just by, and the grip, if providing the grips are tight, what you want to make sure is they don't lift up from the scalp. If they're doing that, you need to come back and do it again. So make sure they're really secure, and then you'll be ready. And then let's pop this in. Just a little, pretty little half up, half down style. And I would recurl this so it doesn't get in the way. Lovely. Fine hair. I love the half up, half down style with soft waves for short, fine hair. Quick and easy. Let's just check our questions. Have I missed anything? You could work, as was just asked, if you could work with hair extensions with this style. You certainly could. You'd need to kind of clip them in before you start curling, and it would give you extra length to the hair. And so yeah, if she wants a little bit more kind of, a little bit of a fuller style, then a longer style, she's got particularly fine hair, particularly short hair, build in the extensions, put the mousse in, put the extensions in, and then style as we have done today. But thank you for joining me, and I hope you can join me next week. We're going to do these tutorials every Tuesday again now. And if you have any styles that you particularly like to learn, just get in touch. And don't forget, you can join me on our e-learning course where you can get really, you know, we've got hundreds of tutorials, in-depth, close-up, where you can learn all different styles and working with all different hair types. Straight hair, curly hair, short and long. So yeah, lots to learn. So I hope you can join me next Tuesday. If you want any information on the online course, just get in touch. Thanks for joining. Bye.